All right. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. Put in my mic. Because I think we can put this on YouTube. So let me get my audio right. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Perfect. Perfect. So I just wanted to hop on and give y'all some love on this Sunday night. I don't think I'll be able to get back on until like next Wednesday or next Sunday. So not, or 2 Sundays from now. So I just wanted to hop on real quick and make sure y'all guys got some love, and we were serving y'all on TikTok as well. Because I don't think I'll be able to get on here until not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that. So just wanted to answer any questions, chat about anything you guys wanted, rap about some things. And if you are new to us on TikTok, make sure that you get into our world. Click that link in bio and see everything that we have for you. Visit our website, download all the stuff we have, join our virtual observation hours, make sure you're listening to the podcast, make sure you're on our YouTube channel, make sure you're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. Make sure you're getting everything, because sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't know you had this or that or that. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff. So click that link in bio, get started if you are new to us, and see what else we got, because we got a lot of good stuff for you guys. So if you have any questions, throw them down below, because once those questions get going, you're gonna be like, dang, I wish I asked my question earlier. So I don't have a script tonight. I don't have anything. I just want to give y'all some love and serve y'all as much as I could before I can get back on here for the next time. It's probably going to be like in 2 weeks or so, unless I just happen to have some time and I can pop up in here. I'll let you guys know on Instagram. I usually give the shout outs for this on Instagram. So if you're not following us there, follow us there. Or you can join our text community. Text 813-212-6770. And if you guys want, I can text you guys if you're on that list on TikTok. So you can text TikTok to 813-212-6770. The link is on the bio as well. So you can join there if you guys want text alerts when I'm going live. So yeah. All right. Drop your questions and I'm scrolling, and let's do this thing. There we go. Lenny Com, can you give me tips on getting into PT school? Well, the biggest tips are, like I was just saying, follow us everywhere, because that's what we do. That's our whole thing, is tips and advice and content and context to your questions to help you get into PT school. So that answer is basically everything that we do. If you're still on, let me know what tips you're looking for. Are you asking more so on how and where do I get started, or when do I get started? Are you asking specifically with your GPAs for tips? Are you asking about your essays? Are you asking about what schools to choose from? Are you asking about career advice with PTA over PT? There's so much you can go into. So first off, I recommend just hopping in the link in our bio so you can learn more about what we do. Then definitely get the Start to PT School guide. That link is in the bio as well. And if you're new, that'll give you a foundation and kind of a blueprint on how things work and where to start. So for you, Lenny, definitely the link in bio, from Start to PT School guide, is definitely for you. I'm from Ecuador. What's up? Do you have any tips to improve an application when applying the second time? I do. I applied twice. So you're just like me. Who we got? Nadine. So the first thing you want to do is just assess why you may have got rejected last time. What's the weak point? That's the first thing. Is it your GPA, GRE? Is it a combination? Did you not apply to schools that are in your statistic range? Did you not get enough letters of recommendation? Did you apply too late? All of that you have to take into account. But the most common things are GPA and GRE. So I recommend if you have any C's, or if you don't have C's and you have B minuses, retake any C's or below. Any classes that you have C's in or below, retake those to get the highest grade possible. That's the first thing I would do. The next, if you have any GRE scores that are a combined under 300, consider retaking that. If you're applying to schools that don't require the GRE, then you're good. But GPA is the first thing. The next is look for schools that will be in your statistic range once you add in those classes that you're going to retake. So those are the big things. Then the third one is go to our YouTube channel and start watching How to Stand Out in 3 Minutes or Less. That playlist will get you on the right track as well. So that's what I would do. When is a good time to start applications for PT school? So really when it opens, so that's between June and July. The date is usually June 1st. This last cycle, it was a little earlier because of COVID, but it's really when it opens is the best time to start applications. However, your application is just not the day that it opens. That's not your application. Your application is the 3 years, the 6 months, the 18 months, the 2 years that you've been preparing for that day that PTCAS, the system that you apply through, opens. So the best time, I guess in that context, the best time to start your application is yesterday. So whether that's getting virtual observation hours through us or in-person hours, or whether that's working on letters of recommendation, building relationships, looking for schools, learning more about the profession, retaking classes if you need to, blah, 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 all that stuff that we talk about all the time, you can start yesterday. So depending on which kind of context you're asking in, those are my 2 answers. How do I get started? Oh, that was the first question. Yeah. So since you're asking on how to get started, link in our bio from Start to PT School Guide. The Start to PT School Guide, that is definitely for you. Do PT schools want to see a lot of community service, or should you focus on observation hours more? I'd say do a healthy combination of both, but don't stress yourself out about it, okay? So yes, schools see community service. Yes, they see observation hours, but they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, who is this? I'm just going to say B&H. They're not going to be like, B&H, man, you got 1,500 hours. Man, we got to accept you. Man, you're the greatest for getting 1,500 hours. Man, just come on it. Or you have 15 community service experiences. Come on in, man. Like, you're crazy. Like, that's wild. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. What they do want to see is you having the requirements they have. So if they want 60 hours of observation hours, you can get 60 hours and still get in. If they want, they don't have restrictions on community service, but if you have 2 or 3 community service experiences, that's enough. That's fine. You don't have to go above and beyond to try to cover up anything or say which one do they like more, because they like both. But they don't put as much weight on it. They don't find it as important as we do, as pre-PTs do. The schools just want what they want. They have their requirements on PTCAS and their websites, and that's what they want. Make sure you fill those first. Anything after that is extra. So good question, but keep that in mind. Don't stress yourself out too much. Get the hours they want. Have some community service things. Don't stress yourself trying to go to Africa to do something. If you can, if that's in your realm, do it. But don't be like, dang, I have to do all. No, just do what you can. Do it well. And you'll be just fine. Starting PT school in the fall. Good stuff. Have fun. Enjoy it. It goes by kind of fast. Some days slow, some days fast. Majoring in exercise science in the fall. Any advice? Have some fun. Don't make school everything, but keep your grades as high as possible. Keep your prereq grades as high as possible. Now, for some people, as high as possible is 100% in everything. For other people, that's an A in 2 classes and a B in the other class, whatever that is. But especially whatever prereq classes that you're taking in that exercise science major, make sure that those are a priority. So let's just say your exercise science major has anatomy in it, anatomy 1 and 2, and it has other classes like nutrition and personal training or something. I'm just making that up. You need to focus more of your effort on the prerequisite anatomy classes more so than the other classes. So that's the advice I would say. Abby, tips for the start of PT school. Dang, I don't have it in here. But go to Swift Notes on Instagram. I don't think they have a TikTok, but if you go to Swift_notes on Instagram, you can download their little clinical guide. I would recommend getting that and use our code. You can use our code PREPT10 to get 10% off. So if you're starting PT school and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what should I do? How can I get started? First off, just celebrate, relax, get some sleep. You're going to have enough studying. But if you do want to get started on something and with something, go to @Swift_notes on Instagram, click their link in bio, then you can use our code PREPT10. I still have to put their link in our bio, so that just reminded me of it, but definitely check that out for getting started with PT school. Research topics for undergrads applying for research programs. It's really any research you're interested in. That's the first thing, especially if you get to pick. You want to pick something that you're interested in. If you don't get to pick and you only have like 2-3 options and they're all then that's a different story. But if you can pick something you're interested in, whether that's nutrition or biomechanics or pediatrics or whatever. If you're going to be spending a lot of time on this research project, make sure you enjoy it. So I think the underlying question to this question might be, will it look better to schools if I did a research project on knee pain versus nutrition in a food desert, a study about nutrition in a food desert? No, it doesn't. It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, you did knee pain, let's accept them over somebody who did a study on nutrition. It doesn't work like that, which is a great thing, which is fortunate. So pick whatever you're interested in. When to start studying for the GRE? First off, when you have time is the first thing. Then next is we recommend taking the GRE between December and May before you apply. So if you're applying this upcoming cycle, then you want to ideally take your GRE between December and May, or January and May, before you apply. The earlier the better, of course, but don't stress yourself out like, oh my gosh, he said on January passed, so I got to take it tomorrow. So yeah, that's what I recommend. So if you're going to take it in May, you should start today. Oh, I lost it. Sorry. What's up, Paul? What's up? I lost it. I'm sorry. I lost that question. Will applying to PT school increase your chances of getting in if you went there in undergrad? No. Not necessarily, but you can use it to increase your chances. There's a big difference. If you have a 1.7 GPA and you're like, so I went to this school in undergrad, why won't you accept me? They're going to be like, you got a 1.7 and you didn't fill out our requirements. We wanted 5 letters of recommendation and you have 1. I don't care if you went here. Other people applying have our requirements, so we're going to accept them. But you can use you going to that same undergrad as the PT school to your advantage because you're right there. You can get to know the professors and the faculty and the dean of the chair and the students who go there. You can go to the building, you can go inside, you can see the stuff, and you can use that to your advantage to help you get into physical therapy school. But you can't just go in like, hey, I've been here, you're gonna accept me, right? So that's a big difference. It can help you, but doesn't mean it will help you. Good question. So helpful, good stuff. Is it worth it to be a PT? I'm actually editing downstairs. I'm loading a video on salaries about physical therapy. So Evil Biddy, you're asking if it's worth it to be a PT. Go to our YouTube channel. I have some videos on is PT worth it? Low cost physical therapy schools. I have some other videos on like, is PT worth it kind of thing. But basically, is it worth it for you? Is the main thing. That's one thing. Second, if you can keep your, according to the study I talked about in one of those videos, I believe in one of those videos, there's a study out there that's saying below $150,000 in debt, a physical therapy degree is worth it. Now, of course, you want to keep it as far below as under $150,000 as possible. But the lower you go, the better it's worth it, of course. So around $87,000, it's better than optometry and dentistry. Then at zero, it's better than, or I might have those mixed up. But there's a study out there. Just type in physical therapy school worth it under $150,000. You can find the study. And there's a graph on there with physical therapy with different debt levels and how good it's worth it. But if you start to go over $150,000 in debt, for physical therapy school, then it's basically no better than a bachelor's degree. So if you can keep your debt lower with scholarships, lower cost schools, increasing your income, making more money to pay down debt, and investing your money to make your money work for you, and making your degree as a doctor of physical therapy worth it, then yes, it'll be worth it. If not, then it won't be worth it. 3 schools, winter break. I believe, thank you for all the tips. Believe y'all. Congrats. Celebrate, Brooke Conway. Tell your pre-PT friends about us. Thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. But celebrate. There's nothing like finding out you finally got in. Top 3 things to stand out. I got more than 3 things. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. I mean, I drop gems all day about stuff to stand out. If you're really paying attention to our content, whether I put out something funny or something more serious, like in between all that, I slip some things in. So go to our playlist on how to stand out in 3 minutes or less. And I have a list of videos on there of how to stand out. But definitely the underrated things are learning about the profession and learning about the PT school or schools you want to apply to, and your goals of what you want to do as a physical therapist. Those are, if you want 3, those are 3. If you want more, go to the playlist, How to Stand Out in 3 minutes or less on YouTube, and you'll see more. But the 3 I'd say is learning about the profession, learning about PT school, and your goals of what you want to do as a physical therapist. Is it advantageous? Does it make your application in June or July as opposed to when they close in October or November? Earlier is better, but that's not a set in stone thing. So I'd say more on the early side, but I wouldn't bust your butt. To try and get it in when PTCast opens. So if you're like, oh my gosh, Casey said earlier, crap, the PTCast opened yesterday, I got to submit everything by 3 days after that. Like, no, you don't have to do all that, but earlier the better. So if your deadlines are in October or November and you submit in August, that's great. So earlier the better, but don't kill yourself. My only fear with saying earlier is what I just said. Oh my gosh, I have to do it early just because. If you're not ready, then wait a few weeks, wait a month until you're ready. So, yeah. Definitely gonna check out the YouTube channel. I love it. I will see you there. Subscribe. I'm planning to study a PT who does home visits. Would that count as inpatient or outpatient? I would say outpatient. Yeah, outpatient. Because inpatient, they're more specific about a hospital or a skilled nursing facility. Anything outside of there is mostly outpatient. Or actually, to be more specific, home health would not count as inpatient. I can confidently say that. Some schools may say it counts as outpatient, but there's usually a checkbox that you can check home health with. Okay, so you can check the home health box. So if you go to the link in our bio and scroll to the bottom, in our verification form, there's a checkbox for home health. So you can check home health as well. But if you had to choose, I'd say go with outpatient. Do I recommend an iPad for PT school? I recommend a notebook, honestly. And that's not me trying to be, rude or anything, but I honestly recommend a notebook. I have a lot of my papers and notes from PT school down here. And most of that stuff was either on the lectures they printed out or in my notebook. So I didn't use an iPad. I know a lot of people did. So if you want to use an iPad, definitely go for it. But I graduated without an iPad. I graduated with pen and paper. So yeah, you can use an iPad. Nothing wrong with an iPad. Oh, I had a laptop, of course. But I really did most of my stuff on the written lectures and in my notebook. So yeah. Good questions, guys. On this late night session, I'm going to be working on putting these TikToks on YouTube. That sounds like it's going to take a while based on what I saw on how TikTok lets you download it. And sometimes these live streams are long. So we'll see how long it takes to render and download. But you can definitely sometime soon look to YouTube for all of these replays of the TikTok live stream. So definitely look out for those there. And I'll most likely be back on here, not this week, not this Sunday, but the next one. So if you want more from us, of course, follow us everywhere. And tune in tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Monday. On Thursday, tune into our pre-PT chat live. We do a live, basically a live podcast, and we turn that into a podcast too on Facebook and Instagram on Thursday. So that's our pre-PT chat live. So definitely check that out for our next live stream. But for the TikTok, I'll probably be in here the week after this. So if there's any last questions, definitely drop them below. I'll make sure I fire them off before I get out of here and try to get my hour back from this daylight savings time thing before I work tomorrow. So hurry up, drop them. Anything I should be doing before starting PT school in the fall. You can get Swift Notes. So Swift_notes on Instagram at Swift Notes, and you can use our code PREPT10, and that can get you started in like that clinical mindset. Because in physical therapy school, for a long time, you're just learning the textbook stuff. And you're like, how does this relate to what I'm going to see in the real world with a patient? And Swift Notes kind of helps you put that together and gives you nice little notes on the side of what you're learning on how this can relate to clinical care. So at Swift Notes on Instagram, click their link in the bio and use our code PREPT10. PREPT10 Swift Notes, Swift_notes on Instagram. Oh, another question. Y'all got the same questions. What can I do to prep myself? Celebrate, relax, and get Swift Notes. Swift_notes on Instagram. Link in their bio. Use our code PREPT10, and that's what you can do. Because I know me saying, oh, just celebrate and relax, people don't want to hear that, even though that's the main thing you need to do, because you're going to be studying enough in PT school. And when you get into PT school and you're a PT, another pre-PT is going to come along saying, oh, I just got into PT school, anything I should do? And you're going to say, relax, you don't need to study. And they're going to be like, I don't want to hear that. What am I supposed to do? Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to do. So if you need to do something, get Swift Notes, Swift_notes on TikTok, and use our code PREPT10 for their nice little clinical booklet. Time commitment for PT school. So the first like semester or a few months, at least for me personally, there was an adjustment time where I was like just really in the books, like that's it. But once you get in the zone, then yes, you can have a life. You can definitely have a life. I was traveling. I was on the intramural team. I started pre-PT grind. We started pre-PT grind in PT school. Both of us were in PT school. But that didn't happen until we got in the groove of it. Because once you get used to it, your professors and how things work, and you know how to study, and you know your sleep schedule, and you know how to handle everything, and you can handle the busy weeks and the off weeks, then it just becomes school, just like everything else. Because if a high schooler was to ask you, oh my gosh, can I still have a life in college? You're going to say, yeah, of course you can have a life in college. And it's the same thing for PT school. Yes, you can still have a life. There's just going to be an adjustment period. I worked, I traveled, I did all that stuff. Good question, though. There we go. All right, guys. I'm going to give it a few seconds, see if anything pops up for questions. Drop them below. I'll fire these off. Then I'll let you guys go and get your hour back from daylight savings time. Tips for preparing to apply to grad school. Our whole platform is about tips. So the first tip is to follow us everywhere. Podcasts, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everything. Follow us everywhere because we give gems all the time. Next is to go to our playlist on YouTube, How to Stand Out in 3 Minutes or Less. Then the last one is keep your grades as high as possible. Keep your grades as high as possible. So I don't know where you are, sunken Nautilus, in your pre-PT journey, but my advice for that varies widely based on what you're asking about that question, because that question can vary a lot. So just as a general answer, that's what I would say. PT school prepared me for the boards. Yes, I do think that. That is their main job. PT school's main job is to prepare you for the boards. It's not to get you a high salary. It's not to find you a job. It's not to find you a spouse. It's not to make you feel good. It's not to make you clinically ready to touch on patients. It's not to get you into a certain specialty or residency. It's not to get you working for a sports team. None of that. It is to get you to pass the boards. That is their main objective. That's it. And I guess a small other objective is to get you clinical experiences. They do have to do that. Other than that, it is the board. So yes. I used Dr. Kyle Rice, the PT Hustle, for my board prep as well. Can you work a job in PT school? I had multiple jobs. I was a drummer, Uber driver, golf caddy, social media director, staff writer for a blog, publications director, started pre-PT grind. So yes, you can work in PT school. As long as they're flexible. As long as those jobs are flexible. Tips for avoiding and reducing debt from PT school. Look for lower cost schools. So you can go to ptschoolprobe.com and you can use our code PREPTGrind and start looking at lower cost schools. But first, before that, go to our YouTube channel and watch my video on low cost schools. Because that's my first thing. My first tip is going to a lower cost school. So go to my YouTube, go to the YouTube channel, go to my video on low cost schools. See that first. Then number 2 is scholarships or grants. Then the next thing is making more money in whatever jobs you can, so that if you needed to and if you wanted to, you can pay some of that cost down and or reduce how much in loans you need to take out. So for example, I took out the bare minimum because I didn't need my loans to pay my rent or to pay for my clinical housing and so on and so forth. So when some other people had to cover that with loans, I can cover that with my side jobs. So that reduces your debt as well. What would you say physical therapy is a stressful career? No, I personally don't. Some people would say, yeah, it's stressful because of the paperwork, but physical therapy compared to emergency surgeon, like an emergency a ER physician or a construction worker or a coal miner or a pilot, PT is, I am chilling. I am chilling in the clinic. Yeah, sometimes it gets busy and you're seeing a lot of patients for a few hours, then it dies down. Then you do some paperwork. Like, it's chill. It's chill. To me. What advice can you... I'll look for the last part of that question. Swift Notes is a physical item. So they have an Etsy product. They're working on a digital product, but it's a physical item. It's downstairs, but it's a little flip through clinical guide. So it's a physical product. So in their link in bio, it's an Etsy product. So it's a physical product. They are working on an app and a digital version. And use our code PREPT10. I took out loans, but right now my net worth is more than my loan. So I'm technically, if I needed to be debt free and liquidate all my assets to be debt free, I could. And I'm only 2.5 years out of school. So I took out loans. I lived under my means. I made more money, negotiated my salary. Simple stuff. Invested. And yeah, simple stuff. Nothing crazy. So the best way to avoid debt, low cost schools, scholarships, grants, make more money, and invest your money. Anatomy classes all online with no lab lasted... Oh, I lost it. Dang it. Lasted 2 semesters. How can I brush up? Swift Notes. I would recommend Swift Notes as well. Or anatomy stuff online. Anatomy YouTube's online. You can get an anatomy book if you really wanted to. But I recommend Swift Notes. Swift_notes. Use our code PREPTGrind. But YouTube, books, yeah. I'm going to be using Swift Notes for some guides, some clinical guides, and some cool content. Hopefully that can help you guys as well. Hardest undergrad class was chemistry. Both of them. I'd say both of them. Hardest undergrad class was chemistry. I've been talking all day. Do you have a bachelor's? I do. So that's my that's my doctorate. Then my bachelor's is from the same school. So that's my doctorate. Then the Hulk is a gift that one of our students in the accepted system gave us. And that trophy is for our business, Pre-PT Grind. Can you choose patients? No. If you're working in a traditional outpatient clinic, no, you can't choose patients. They're going to be like, no, see this patient needs help. You said you want to help people. You took this job on to help people. No, you can't just work with athletes. But if you wanted to specialize and work at a sports clinic or with a sports team or so on and so forth, yes, you can choose a job that only works with sports, or you can choose a job that only works with pediatrics or geriatrics. But you can't go into a regular clinic or into a hospital saying, I don't want to work with this patient. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Teach me about credit cards. I'm 20 and I don't got one. Well, the biggest thing about credit cards is to pay them off as soon as possible. So you don't have a recurring interest on there. So that's one of the biggest things. I use my credit card like a debit card and I just pay it off every month. So, and my credit card just gives me points. So different credit cards have different points, whether it's with an airline or cashback rewards or cryptocurrency. So pick whichever one you like, but the biggest thing is to use it like a debit card, then just pay it off every month. There's a lot of YouTube videos and YouTube channels on credit cards and stuff, and all great, but I think the simplest thing you can do is Just make sure you pay it off every month. If you're going to have a balance on there, leave it $10, $25, something crazy small. And don't pay the minimum every month. Pay it all off. Major in undergrad. If I missed any questions, let me know. I hope I didn't miss anything. Major in undergrad was exercise science. My bachelor's was in exercise science. Thank you. Just feel behind the curve without getting my hands on. That's okay. You're not alone, Anthony, Vincent. You're not alone, my friend. A lot of people feel behind, especially the PT students who were in PT school this past year. Clinics look for in hiring a PT tech. The biggest thing they look for, especially if it's a private practice, is how much can you make their life easier? I'm going to be real. How much can you make their life easier? So that can be anything from cleaning up, from intake on patients, to answering the phone, to doing laundry, to learning more about exercises and exercise science and therapeutic exercise. Or maybe that's taking notes in an eval for them if you offer to do that and if they allow you to. However you can make their life easier, look for ways to make their life easier. If you go in there saying, I want to make your life easier with whatever you need, and name off the stuff I said, writing notes for you, cleaning up, staying late, coming in early, pushing a wheelchair, answering the phones, I don't care. If you can make my life easier tomorrow in the clinic, bruh. Hired. Now, I don't hire anybody. I'm just a staff PT, but my clinic director would say hired. If you want to work with athletes, I would start working with athletes today. If you want to work with athletes, I would start working with athletes today. Because there is no yellow brick road saying be an exercise science major, go to PT school, do a sports residency, then the Denver Broncos will hire you. It does not work like that. It'd be nice if it did, but it does not work like that. Just because you did a sports residency and went to PT school at University of Pittsburgh and did undergrad in exercise science does not mean they would hire you for sports, for a sports team. If you want to work with athletes, you can work with athletes today. Whether that's volunteering for a tennis team, being a referee, have your athletic training degree, being a personal trainer, being a coach or an assistant coach, being the water girl or boy, and build up your connections that way. So, a lot of people think it's a straight path, but it's not. You got to work to get that sports job or that sports athlete job, whether that's certifications or connections or a sports PT clinic. Then the sports PT clinic has a connection to the doctor who works for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or it's all about connections. No, it's not more beneficial. The question is exercise science more beneficial than biology? No, your major doesn't matter that much. Your experience with athletes matters. So, for example, like this, if you're an exercise science major, but you do nothing with athletes outside of that, that's not going to do anything. But if you're a biology major and you're a referee, an umpire, an assistant coach, have your NASM certification, now being a biology major and having all that is going to make you more attractive to working with athletes. As opposed to, hey, I'm an exercise science major, that makes me look better for athletes, right? It's not really about the major. It might help you a little bit more with some technical things, but you can learn technical things on Google now. Like, it's not how it used to be. So, yeah, good question though. But no. You don't have to be stuck into a major. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? I think we are, my future colleagues. Future pre-PTs, I think we are good. If we have any more questions, shoot me a question in the DMs. And we will see you on our pre-PT chat live on Thursday night on Instagram and Facebook. Take care, guys.